Moving on to example 6, where we have one more example of simple interest, this time in a word problem form. Let's read through the word problem and see what we have here. You are sitting in an office at your local financial institution, and the bank officer says to you, "We will make you a great deal. If we advance that line of credit and you borrow $20,000 today, when you want to repay that balance in 3 months, you will only have to pay us $20,168.77, which is not much more." Before answering, you decide to evaluate the statement. Calculate the simple interest rate that the bank officer used in her calculations. So you're paying back more than you borrowed. Of course, that's how loans work. You're paying back more than you borrowed. And the question is, if they use simple interest, which for short loans like this, it's not uncommon, certainly, to use a simple interest rate. They have some kind of simple interest calculation that came up to, now this is how much you're going to pay us back, a little bit more than $20,168.77. And we want to use our simple interest formula then to calculate how much, what rate, what percentage rate are they charging us here. We will refer back to those simple interest formulas then, one or the other, the I equals PRT or the S equals P times 1 plus RT, which give us, it's kind of variations on the same information there. But let's see what we know. We are given the starting amount, 20,000, that's P, so far so good. And then when you want to repay that balance in 3 months, so we know the time is 3 months, so far so good there. You'll only have to pay us $20,168.77. You know, the total amount that the loan will be worth at the end of those 3 months. That is S. So we're going to use that S equals P times 1 plus RT formula, plug in what we know, and solve for what we don't know, which is the rate. And we have the total amount after 3 months, that's $20,168.77, equals the starting amount, 20,000, times 1 plus R, we don't know, that's the rate, times the time, 3 over 12. And we are changing that 3 months into a number of years, 3 out of 12, 3 months out of 12 months, that's 3/12 of a year. And because they're asking us for the interest rate, and they didn't give us a unit of time, they didn't tell us the rate per month or the rate per day or the rate per year, they just said the interest rate. And if you're ever discussing interest rates and you're not specifically told a unit time, just always assume it's an annual rate. That is safe. I mean, I guess you can ask to clarify. It doesn't hurt to ask to clarify, but bottom line, if you're talking interest rates, then it's always annual unless someone says otherwise. So if we're calculating the interest rate here, then we are going to assume safely enough that we're talking about an annual interest rate, and so I'm going to turn that 3 months into a number of years, 3/12 of a year. From here, I'll divide both sides by 20,000, getting an approximate answer from my calculator. Then I'll subtract 1 on both sides, divide both sides by 3/12, and I get R is approximately 0.033754, which if I change it back to a percentage, because that's a rate, is about 3.38%. Let me say that we could have done a different calculation, which actually ends up being basically the same calculation with the I equals PRT formula. So just very briefly here, I want to say, you could have picked the other formula. You could have picked the I equals PRT formula, because we know our principal is 20,000. We know we're trying to find the rate. We know our time is 3/12 of a year, and we know how much interest we're paying. We're paying $168.77 more than the starting amount. That means the interest that we're paying is $168.77. So I can use the I equals PRT formula with an interest of 168.77, divide both sides by 20,000 and 3/12, and I get R is approximately 0.033754, the exact same number that I got before. The exact same R is approximately 3.38%. So you could have used either formula. And you see the calculations end up being the same in both cases. If you show your work and justify your answer, then you can get credit for the work that you have done here. And the answer is that the bank officer used a simple interest rate of 3.38% in her calculations.